Running a business comes with a lot of what-ifs, but luckily there's a simple answer to them. Shopify. It's the commerce platform behind millions of businesses, including Thrive Cosmetics and Momofuku, and it'll help you with everything you need. From website design and marketing to boosting sales and expanding operations, Shopify can get the job done and make your dream a reality. Turn those what-ifs into... Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/special offer.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
This October, the wrong station celebrates a decade of dread. You can read the show notes to discover terrible new ways to celebrate with us. Today's episode, Pickman's Language Model, is written by Mary Gillis and performed by Shelby Handley.
"You're late," he said, opening the massive front door. "You said 8, I said. Behind him, somewhere deep in the house, a grandfather clock chimed 8 times. "Did I?" he said. A long, low howl drifted in from the dark street behind me. "Goddamn mutts! Come in." The Pickman house, which had looked large and unfriendly from the street, was actually quite comfortable inside. Well lit, warm, tastefully decorated with antiques I could tell were worth a fortune. "Did you see any dogs in the street?" he asked, closing the door. "I saw people walking their dogs," I said. "Yeah, that's probably it. Goddamn mutts. Okay, I'll show you the library. We have a lot to do tonight." I'd chosen to study at a certain New England university, known colloquially, depending on your political sensibilities, either as Evil Harvard or Eviler Harvard, because it had the best occult reference library on this side of the Atlantic. The Pickman family was rumored to have the best library outside of the school. I'd been disappointed after starting my studies to learn that most of the books I wanted to access weren't available to undergrads, not even with faculty permission. The school liked to pretend these books were merely valuable historical objects, but they treated them like biohazards. I'm sure I wasn't the first undergrad who'd considered resorting to less savory methods, but the school security was tight. I likely wouldn't be able to get my hands on the Le Livre de Dernier until I was accepted into the grad program, which would take years. Then I saw the post on the school's message board. Elijah Pickman, the last scion of an ancient Massachusetts family and a student in the library's small but prestigious coding program, was looking for a history or library sciences student to help him digitize his family's legendary library. In exchange, the assistant would get a digital copy of everything they worked on. So here I was. The Pickman Library was huge for a private collection, dozens of sturdy wooden bookshelves filled with leather-backed tomes. But the crown jewels were kept in a glass case that glowed from within with a soft, warm light. The Necro was there, the De Dernier, along with a De Vermis Mysterious, the Book of Ibon, and a very beaten-up and dog-eared copy of Cultes de Gaulle. I reluctantly tore my gaze away from the books to check out the workstations Pickman had set up. There was an antique, solid wood desk with a huge monitor and a small computer on it. Beside the desk was a cheap, temporary work table with a lamp, a camera on an adjustable arm, and a small stand where books could lie open without cracking their spines. There were about 40 books stacked beside the stand. Above the massive fireplace, where a large fire was cheerfully blazing, hung a Pickman. "So you really are related to Richard Pickman, the artist?" I said as I gazed at the large canvas, featuring a group of canid-faced ghouls eating what appeared to be a human body. Pickman looked up at the painting. "Yeah, that one used to scare me when I was a kid. Not now, of course. Anyway, we can talk about art appreciation after we get started. You're digitizing nearly 50 books. Should take about 4 hours. You're not doing the entire library?" There were hundreds, perhaps thousands of volumes on the shelves. "I don't need it. Everything I need is in the glass case or already on the table." The setup was efficient, and the photography went quickly. The 40 books on the table were treatises on philosophy, religion, alchemy, and the occult. Valuable additions, but I'd already read most of them. The camera instantly sent images to Pickman's computer through Bluetooth because he said he didn't trust the cloud. He told me that he'd already fine-tuned the AI that translated the photographs into digital text, so he didn't have to do much to monitor its progress. "Then why not take the photos yourself?" I asked. "Why am I here?" "Because I needed another person to help me," he said. I didn't bother pressing for a clearer explanation. I was grateful for the opportunity, whatever his reasons. While I worked, he talked. Some might say incessantly. He told me how scared all of the other coding students were about the new epidemic of vibe coding, but he thought Gen AI was wonderful. "It's the future. You either embrace it or you get left behind." He told me how his parents died a few years ago and left him this ancient house he didn't like much because it was old and cost a fortune to maintain. He explained that his family's incredible book collection was the work of his great-great-grandfather, the brother of the famous painter, who'd started collecting occult books when his outre artistic brother disappeared. He was obsessed with finding out what happened, and seemed to think the answer was in these books. I looked up at the painting of the ghouls. He never thought the answer might be in his art? I like art as much as the next guy, but let's be honest. When was the last time the answer to anything was found in art? I said, as non-committally as possible. Did he find the answers in these books? No, he didn't. But they still have their uses. It only took a couple of hours to photograph the books on the table. When I was done, Pickman, to my surprise, swept them all roughly off the table and into a couple of cardboard boxes. These weren't the rarest books in the collection, but many of them were valuable and delicate. He took out a key and unlocked the glass case. "When you're done with these, put them in there," he said, pointing to another cardboard box. "Okay, but can we open a window first?" I pointed to the fire. "These books shouldn't be out in air that's got soot and smoke in it." "Yeah, because that might ruin them," he said, chuckling at some private joke. But when he saw that I was serious, he shrugged and lifted up one of the windows a crack to let in the night air. I heard another howl outside through the open window as I opened the glass case. Pickman peered out, but it was too dark for him to see anything. "Seriously, someone should call the city about these dogs," he said. I took my time, turning the pages slowly as I photographed them. What I saw told me that these books were both authentic and truly priceless, and that the university was probably prudent to limit access. I couldn't wait until I was done and could really dig into the text instead of just skimming. I left the de Dernier for last and put it gently in the box when I was finished. All done? Pickman said. All done, I said. Excellent. The training is happening as we speak. We shouldn't have to wait long. Training? I said. It's technical. You wouldn't understand. He grabbed one of the cardboard boxes that contained the first books that I'd photographed and threw it on top of the fire. The box went up immediately, and soon the smell of burning leather filled the library. He grabbed another full box and did the same. What on earth are you doing? Like I said, you wouldn't understand. Bring me the last box. No fucking way. I picked up the remaining cardboard box, the one with the rarest books, and held it protectively to my chest. He opened a small wooden box on the mantel and pulled out a pistol. Bring me the box, he said, pointing the pistol at me. You expect me to believe you're stupid enough to keep a loaded gun on top of a fireplace? He glared at me and fired a shot into the ceiling. Bring me the box. Another howl came from outside. This one sounded like it was right outside the window. I brought him the box. Throw it in, he said. Why? He pointed to the desk. Right now, a new kind of intelligence is being born out of the knowledge found in these books. The perfect melding of technology and spirit. But it's not enough. We have to destroy the originals. An act of sacrifice. There was something in how he looked at me as he said sacrifice that led me to believe the books weren't the only thing he was planning to offer up tonight to his machine. Now I knew why he needed another person. So your plan is to be the proud papa of a slop god? He smiled. You're gonna regret calling it that. You know, all of the supernatural beings that I've read about hate their parents. He frowned and was about to say something when loud scratching noises at the open window distracted him. When he turned his head to look, I threw the box at him and grabbed the fireplace poker. I swung it down on the hand holding the gun, then immediately hit him again in the head, sending him crashing to the floor. I picked up the gun and pointed it at him. You don't understand what I'm trying to do, he said. Of course I understand. You're not subtle. I just think it's stupid. I wasn't sure what to do next. I've never held a crazy person at gunpoint before. When the sound of the window sliding up answered my dilemma for me. Instinct told me to dive under the large antique desk. So that's what I did as the things came pouring into the room. I heard snarls and screams as they descended on the last Pickman. According to my watch, the feeding only took about 10 minutes. Several came to sniff around the desk, but they left me alone. I still don't know why. Maybe they had a mission and couldn't deviate from it. Maybe those protection rituals I'd cobbled together from my studies actually worked. Or maybe they could just tell I was a dog person. When I heard the last straggler lap up what I assume was the last of the blood and then shimmy out the window, I emerged from under the desk. The computer dinged behind me, and I'm not ashamed to say that the sound scared the bejesus out of me. The model was ready. I wondered if what happened to Pickman counted as enough of a sacrifice, even without burning the last books. So it was with slight trepidation that I wrote, "Is Elijah Pickman alive?" into the prompt box. It said, Elijah Pickman, its glorious and wise creator, was still alive and well and would usher in the future out of the ashes of the past. I looked at the dark, damp patch on the floor and smiled. I can't say I wasn't relieved to learn it had no idea what was going on. Perfect melding of technology and spirit, my ass. But after I gathered up the books I was taking with me, I still threw the computer on the fire before I left.
Wrong Station is made possible with the generous support of our listeners on Patreon. Join us today at patreon.com/The Wrong Station for bonus episodes, behind-the-scenes content, ad-free listening, and additional goodies celebrating our decade of dread. The Wrong Station is co-produced by Alexander Saxton, Anthony Botello, and Jacob Duarte Spiel, with music composed and performed by Alon Citrin, and arranged for the viola and performed by Viola Schmidt. You can follow us on social media at The Wrong Station, or email us at thewrongstation@gmail.com. And until next time, thank you for listening.